Hi everyone, thanks for joining us on another Ludicrous Feed video. Yesterday I got my Model S serviced. It was the first time I'd received a full service. I went to the Sydney store in St Leonard's, the service centre there as well. When I checked in, it was the odometer was 40,596, and when I received it back it was 40,599, which meant they went for a 3-kilometre test drive. Subjectively, Ruby from Tesla said that my car was in good condition, which is good to hear. This is my first full service that I've had done, so under that bracket it went under my first annual service technically, and it was a guaranteed fixed price, which I'll tell you later on. And I'll go through the report, and I'll give you my thoughts as to whether it was worth doing that service. So I'll read through to you what the report said, and I've made a few notes as well as I go along. So let's see. Carried out first year annual service, pulled logs and checked for active faults. No active faults as of 13th of April 2018, which is yesterday. Checked firmware version. Performed function check of closures. Moving glass doors, trunks, sunroof. Cleaned and lubricated secondary hood, release latch and tested. Torqued suspension bolts, tested and inspected customer's charge cable, vehicle charging normally at 10 amps, replaced wiper blades, key fob battery for second key left in the center console cup holder, cabin air filter, tested remote keyless entry, inspected seat belts and latches, checked interior / exterior lighting and horn, performed inspection of powertrain and chassis component. Chassis or chassis? I think it's chassis components. Checked wiper fluids, topped off washer fluid, checked brake fluid and coolant levels, no sign of leakage, carried out 4-wheel alignment and adjustments as required, measured tire tread depth, millimeters remaining. Okay, so when I first brought my car in, the technician came out and checked my tyres and said that my front 2 tyres were wearing thin, so they were replaced. So these numbers I'm quoting now for the front wheels are brand new essentially. So outer, center, inner for the 2 front tyres are now 5.5, 7 and 5.5 respectively. The rear tyres, which I replaced last year at about 25,000 kilometres, 4.2, 4.1 and 4.1 respectively for outer, center and inner for the left rear, which is that side, and the rear right at 5.1, 4.9, 4.8 outer, center and inner respectively. So it looks like the left tyre is getting more wear, which is understandable. We're right-hand drive here in Australia, driving on the left side of the road. Adjusted tyre pressures to placard spec, 45 psi for front and rear. And this is the nice one, which I like seeing, which measured brake pad thickness, millimeters of wear remaining. So all 4 of my brake pads for all 4 wheels are at 8 millimeters. The park brake is at 5. Just bear in mind, a brand new brake pad is 9 millimeters. So I've had this car for 40,000 kilometers now, and the brake pad is worn by 1 millimeter. That's pretty awesome. It just goes to show regenerative braking is doing its job. And of course, test drove the vehicle, as I showed you with the odometer reading. So the report goes on to say that they replaced the 2 wiper blades, which is good because it was squeaking a little bit on rainy days. A new lithium-ion battery coin for the key fob, which is good. And they replaced the carbon filter for the cabin filter as well. And then the report goes on to say that they changed my tyres. Now, I'll talk about my tyres. So I got Michelin tyres. I assume these are the OEM tyres which they replaced. The P245 45R19 Michelin PS3 tyres. So I paid for 2 tyres $636.36. I assume that's without GST, so with GST it's about $700, which I checked on my Tesla owners Facebook forum, and I was told that's quite a reasonable price. I did think about maybe shopping around instead of just agreeing to their price, but you know, the old time versus money argument, I just didn't have time to do that. So I think $700 for 2 19-inch tyres is a reasonable price. Now, before I go about the actual price of the service, let me just show you another report I had done. So last year in September, when my car was 28,000 kilometers, there was a problem with my door handle, so I brought that in to get it replaced under warranty. Every time you bring in your car for a, for anything, I guess, that you want it checked out under warranty or otherwise, they do a little thing called a courtesy inspection. So let me read to you the courtesy inspection from that round of when I brought it in. It said, pulled logs and checked for active faults. No active faults found on the 5th of September 2017. Checked firmware version, topped off washer fluid, verified wiper and washer jet operation, checked all seat belts and latches, tested and inspected customer's charge cable, vehicle charged normally at 10 amps, adjusted tyre pressure to 45 psi front and rear, and they also measure the tyre depth as well. So as you can see, that report is very similar to some of the points already covered in my recent inspection and service yesterday. So I made a few notes as to what, I guess, between a free service versus a full paid service, what exactly are you paying for a full inspection and service? So the things that weren't covered in that courtesy inspection were: 1, performed function check of closures, moving glass doors, trunks and sunroof, so they checked the operation of all those things. Number 2, they cleaned and lubricated the secondary hood release latch and tested. Assume that means the front trunk. They just made sure that was opening and closing. Either that, or it could have been the trunk itself. It's got that secondary closure, so maybe that's a thing that they looked at. Now, they torqued the suspension bolts. That I appreciated, because I did say to them the car felt a little bit rattly at 40,000 kilometers. Not too bad, but I could start to feel like a little bit of like a pirate ship. So when I torqued all the suspension bolts, I drove it today, and I must admit, subjectively, it feels a bit tighter. Everything feels a bit tighter around corners, around bumps and things. So that I appreciated. They replaced the wiper blades, key fob battery. See, the wiper blades, I mean, I had a friend of mine, actually it was Mick, model Mick, said he went in to get his wiper replaced anyway, because it was making that squeaking noise, so I guess I could have done that anyway. So a key fob, I've done that a couple of times when it's gone low and it's set on the dash to replace the battery. So again, not really something that you need to have a full service for. They replaced the cabin air filter, which is good. I wasn't really noticing any increased pollution coming through the cabin from the other ICE cars on the road. They tested the remote keyless entry. Yeah, that's fine. They checked interior, exterior lighting and horn. I mean, if there was something wrong, I would have said anyway, right? Perform inspection of powertrain and chassis component. Okay, so I'll come back to this, because I think that's quite important. They checked the brake fluid and coolant levels, so that's sort of important as well. I don't know how to do that, to be honest. They carried out four-wheel alignment adjustment, so that's quite good. And they measure the brake pad thickness, so that's something that I could not have done myself. And I test drove the vehicle. I guess I would have said something if there was something wrong with the car. So I guess there are 4 main things that I appreciated that they did, which I could not have done myself, or I would have had to bring to a mechanic anyway to get done, which was the powertrain and the chassis components. I don't know whether they actually looked at the battery. I'm not sure whether you can look at the battery. I guess they just looked at all the links between the battery and the actual powertrain and the axles and all those kind of things. So that's important. Checked brake fluid and coolant levels. I guess that's important from a safety point of view. Carried out four-wheel alignment and measured the brake pad. So there are 4 things that I guess you are paying the first year service for. So the actual service itself cost me $781.17, excluding GST. So we're looking at another $78, so $850 for that service. I guess the question I'm going to ask is, was it worth $800 to get those things checked? I guess no one else. I mean, the mechanic could have tested. Those 4 things I talked about that were worth servicing for, they could have tested the brake fluid level and coolant levels. They could have tested the four-wheel alignment, which I've actually done before, gone to a third-party mechanic to get my tyres rotated. And brake pad thickness, I think any mechanic could probably have done that. So the one thing I guess a standard mechanic could not have done is to look at the powertrain and chassis, because it's quite a different car compared to the standard ICE cars out on the road. Is it worth $800? Look, I guess if you want to drive a Tesla, you probably should look at that frequently, because no one else knows what's going on in that car apart from authorized Tesla dealers and service centers. So Is it worth $800? Well, I guess they can jolly well charge whatever they want because they're owning all the stores currently. So, yep, fair enough. Hats off to you, Tesla, for that business model. Look, I would actually like your opinion. Let me know if you've had your Tesla Model S or X or 3 service in the last, 5 years that you've owned your car, or even last week that you've owned your car. So, number one, I'd like to know whether you've serviced your car. At what intervals have you serviced it? Has it been every year or every 20,000 kilometers? Let me know that. And the third question I want to ask you is, have you been happy with the service? Do you think it's worth the money? And would you recommend you service your car at the intervals that they recommend, which is every year, basically? So let me know those 3 things. Have you serviced your car? At what intervals? And are you happy? And would you recommend it to others? And post them in the comments, and then I will do another video with a follow-up, and I'll give you all the statistics of what people have said. Alright, thank you guys. That's my service report for my first ever Tesla service for this Model S at 40,000 kilometers. Looks like it's in great condition. I bought it second-hand, so I'm very thankful that it was passed to me in great condition, and I've done my best to look after it as well. So thanks for watching. It's a lovely day here in Sydney, as you can see behind me. Hope it's a fantastic day where you are, and as always, happy charging. Hey, thanks for watching, and thank you for helping us to bring the electric vehicle revolution to Australia. If you've enjoyed our videos, please take a moment to hit subscribe. We would really appreciate it. If you're close to buying a brand new Tesla, then lucky you. Use one of our promo codes on screen to unlock special goodies from Tesla. Happy charging!